I'm Pamela Portnoy.
I'm Alexa Marie Anderson.
And no one's okay.
We are back, and we have a very lovely guest for you guys today. I'm so happy for you to meet Marissa Mayer. She is actor, singer, dancer, all the things. She's amazing. We're so happy to have her. Marissa, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself way better than how I just did it?
That was great. No, that was perfect. Yes, thank you. So happy to be here. I am Marissa Mayer, and I feel like it's hard to do in a short introduction because, as Alexa said, I'm so sorry. My mentor is Alexis, so that's the name that I've been saying so much.
So funny. I do that to her in my head all the time because I'm a big Schitt's Creek fan, and so sometimes I'll call the character Alexis Alexa, and sometimes I'll in my head call Alexa Alexis.
I'll just change my name. It's all good.
Yeah, that would help me. Thank you so much, Alexa.
Got you.
So anyways, yes, I have my hands in a lot of different pots, but today we'll mostly be talking about me as an organizer and my passion around goal setting, and short introduction around that. I started a small business when I was 17, which was just the organizing. It was called Organize It with Marissa, which is still what it's called. And it was just, me going into family friends' homes and helping them organize their pantry or helping their kids get some sort of school organization going. And then that kind of naturally dwindled as I went to college and became an adult and figured out what that was about. And over this past year, actually right before the pandemic, I decided to make it a priority again. And so I kind of relaunched it and have combined my passion for goal setting and helping others do the same with my skills and passion around organizing.
How did the goal setting aspect come into Organize It with Marissa?
Yeah, that is, really the short answer is just that it's two passions of mine and I didn't want to make two separate businesses.
Fair.
I just lumped them into one.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they go hand in hand. I feel like, and you'll probably do a better job explaining this than I will, but when your life is organized physically, also you're organized mentally. At least for me, when my place is a mess, usually my life is a mess as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It just piles on, doesn't it?
Right. Exactly.
If you're having a not so great day at work or a not so great audition, I'm going to speak for myself. When I'm not having a great day, I will come home, and if there are so many dishes left undone in the sink, I'm just and this too? No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't really motivate me to want to do anything else. It just, I don't know, just piles up. But yeah, what is your advice for people that are wanting to start making goals for themselves? I feel like that is, everyone asks do you make goals for yourself? I feel like I get that question often, what are your goals? But then I don't really know what to say because I haven't been goal setting.
Yeah. And even the way you say that makes me sad because it seems like there was some shame around that just to call that out.
Yeah.
And it's natural. I feel like a lot of people view it that way. It's daunting. Thinking about possibility and trusting yourself to goal set is a really vulnerable thing. So yeah, you're not alone in that feeling, I think. So what did you ask? Oh, what's my advice for people that want to start? Yeah, I think just starting, you have to, I think starting small is the biggest thing. Deciding a habit change is a really powerful, a small habit change, really small. I'm talking drinking more water. So the habit change is putting a glass of water on your nightstand before you go to bed, not even drinking the water, just putting the water there. Start really small if goal setting is daunting for you.
I really relate to that because I recently started working with a friend of mine who is a personal trainer, and I always get overwhelmed when I like have this goal of like I want to, feel a certain way, like reach a certain, fitness overarching goal. And the way he tackled it with me was, okay, I'm just going to ask you to do one thing. Start drinking a certain amount of water every day. And then once I've like mastered that, he'll add on like another little task for me to accomplish. And then at the end, it all starts to pile up and it feels way more doable than like, okay, well, I just need to change everything that I do.
Exactly. And then it becomes part of your lifestyle, and it's not like a result that you compulsively have to check off and then you can relax. Like it kind of takes all of that away and just makes it about you drinking water every day. And that's it.
Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
brilliant.
I love the idea of starting small. It's kind of interesting. Like, I just compared it in my mind with, and we have a lot of performers that listen to the show. So, when you're doing a scene and you play the ending, you know what I mean? You play the ending too quick. They're like, oh,
100%.
you didn't, you're shooting for the ending. I feel like that is my problem with goal setting. Like I set a goal for myself and I set goals that like, I don't start small. I start way too big. And not to say that you shouldn't, dream big or make your goals big, but I kind of set like an unrealistic goal, I guess, for myself. And then I get really disappointed that I don't meet it. But like, I'm only setting myself up for failure in that way. Whereas if I just took the, one step at a time, I could get to that bigger goal.
Yeah. Well, you bring up something really interesting because you bring up an interesting dichotomy around goal setting, because there's a lot of cognitive dissonance that goes along with it, because you're right that we can and should be setting big, audacious goals, scary goals that scare us. Absolutely.
Right.
And that are like slightly not unrealistic, but that stretch us a little bit, right? If I was in college, I wouldn't make my goal to graduate because I know I'm going to graduate. My goal would be something a little bit stretching me. And also at the same time, you have to make that goal and then completely release your attachment to that result. And it makes no freaking sense.
This
is
is
so difficult.
It is. I struggle with this a lot. What you just said kind of reminds me of a lot of stuff that I've been seeing, on social media and online and through like self-help books. And correct me if I'm wrong. It's manifestation, right? So do you feel like your method for goal setting goes hand in hand with manifestation? How are they different? Are they the same?
Yeah, totally. Great question. Yeah, the way I approach goal setting is completely hand in hand with manifesting. That's how it's resonated with me throughout my journey with this stuff. And they're not the same thing. I think of goal setting as like I think of manifesting as the big umbrella, a little more intangible, a little bit more mysterious, a lot more unknown. And then the goal setting is what we can try and control more over and like make it reality and tangible.
Okay.
That helps my brain so much, Marissa.
Oh,
wow.
Cool.
This is the first time I'm meeting you, so I'm a little hesitant, but I'm just going to ask, and feel free to like not answer. But could you share some examples from your own goal setting and your own manifestations to kind of illustrate that?
Absolutely. I was actually just going to do that because it can get vague. Totally. So for me, I'll just share my experience that kind of launched me into all of this. I've always been interested in this work and started getting more into it in college, but really getting into it right after my first year in New York City, which was right after college in most of 2017, basically. And so I moved to New York and was having a rough time, just like figuring out how to be an adult and be on my own and work and live in New York City, and then also audition and train and be with friends and have a social life. It was extremely daunting to me, and I very much closed off within. I just felt like I was crawling up the biggest hill and I had no idea how to tackle it, to the point where I kind of what I believe is attracted chaos in order to get me out of it, which is what ended up happening. So I think because I've always had a strong connection with my end game, meaning I've always known that I'm going to perform or be an artist forever throughout whatever mode that is. I've always really known that, even in the lowest of lows in New York. I always knew that was a thing. So I think because of that, I attracted chaos. Mid 2017, I got bed bugs, which like sounds like it's such white girl problems for sure. I will absolutely own up to that. And it was awful.
I mean, bed bugs are pretty awful. I've heard some horror stories. Like it's funny you mentioned this. I was just talking about bed bugs with my friend last night because and maybe we'll get into this later. I'm having my own, not bed bugs, but I'm having an issue in my apartment right now. So
cool. Got it.
I'm loving it.
It was that. And it was hard, especially with somebody like me who's hyper organized, hyper like in control of my environment. That's like really important to me. So I felt very violated and it just happened at a time where I just didn't have my, can I curse on here? Is that?
Of course you can.
I didn't have my shit together.
I should have mentioned that. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. And thankfully, it was the greatest gift in the long run because it made me realize how unhappy I was and how easily I could crumble, which was really eye-opening. And so that was what helped me realize I didn't want to be in New York and I wanted to be in LA with my family. And I realized my core values of family and fun and community. And I value that over everything, no matter what I'm doing. Anyways, I got all of that out of this horrific bed bug experience. Out of that, I moved to LA. I was so much happier. My head was cleared. So then I started actively making more goals and manifesting around that. And so one of my goals out of that was, Broadway by 2021, which is this year. And which actually reminded me to bring something else up about that. Mm-hmm. And the last 3 years, so that was 3 years ago, made that goal and then made some like year-long goals to help that manifest. And the path that has taken me on is beyond what I could have imagined as the depressed, sad, struggling 23-year-old Marissa in New York. And so I guess how I can differentiate manifesting versus goal setting in that example is, I think the manifesting was the mysterious aspects of that experience, was the bed bugs. That was a part of that. The bed bugs were a part of this amazing journey that I'm on. And I wouldn't be dreaming about or living into all of the possibility in my life if that didn't break me. And so I see my connection to my end game of being artistically fulfilled with a community that's meaningful. That is the manifesting. The bed bugs were a part of that. And then the goal setting is me taking action and making that goal of being on Broadway, and making that goal of, one of my goals in 2019 was to book 3 equity shows and have 3 roles within those shows. So whether it was supporting or lead, whatever. And that was something that was really scary for me to say, because I hadn't worked that was 2018. And I hadn't worked in 2 years. I hadn't worked since college, hadn't been in a show. So I was extremely nervous and scared about making that decision because it felt like I couldn't, but I trusted myself to make it. And then I did exactly that. I did 5 shows that year.
Badass.
Wow.
So you look
awesome.
at the manifestation more like as the parts that you can't so much control yourself, and like how you navigate those events, and then the goal setting more like your intentional.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that makes sense. That really does make sense.
Yeah. I think of, sorry, one thing around that, this book, Life on Earth by Mike Dooley, is something it was a book that I read beginning of 2018, and it helped me understand this manifesting aspect of it. He says, thoughts become things. And that's been my motto for the last 3 years. And so it's that sort of like, it's my mindset that's the manifesting. It's the me like thinking about what I want all the time.
It's believing in yourself, right? Like I feel like part of the manifesting part is believing in yourself and trusting that the things will happen. And then the goal setting is, you know, putting those little steps in place. That's the action, right? So I feel like goal setting would be the action and manifesting would be the thought. Believing.
Yeah, that's a great way
to simplify it. But yeah, I don't know. That's how my brain was working. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense now.
And even with the manifest, or even with the goal setting, it's so fuzzy because there is a level of manifestation there, because there's 2 parts to goal setting. There's the baby steps, there's the habitual changes that are small and incremental day by day. And then you still do have to set those audacious goals that are a little bit out of your control, but you're making it a result thing to drive yourself to do the baby steps, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
I'm so happy we're having this conversation, because honestly, I hear the word manifest all the time being thrown around. And so I've been trying to manifest, and I have like a vision board, and I, write notes and things like that. But I think the part that I'm missing is the goal setting part. I'm just like manifesting and I know that sounds kind of
woo.
But
sure.
I don't know. That's how my brain interpreted it. So I think this is so helpful, and I'm sure to other people too, because I just need to start making little things for myself each day to do that will get me to those things, which makes sense now that I'm saying it out loud. But you need to like talk about, I feel like it needs to be communicated to really understand.
Yeah, totally. It's not, I feel like all of this information is instinctual to a level, because we are all the same. We are all one. If you believe that, that's what I believe. So I think that we all do have these, what I believe are universal truths about creating the life that you love. And we are completely in control of our lives, because we are one with the universe and blah, 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 blah. And we're living in our reality, and you only know what you know.
Amazing. Very true. You mentioned something about Broadway that you wanted me to remind you of.
Thank you. Yes, I was just going to say that goal that I set 3 years ago, Broadway by 2021, which was like crazy audacious, crazy, like have no idea if that was going to be possible. Here we are, 2021. I'm not on Broadway, right? I have 6 months left to make that goal. So I just wanted to bring that up, because that can be a scary thing. Is like, if you make this goal and then you get there and you don't meet it, what now?
How do you deal with the disappointment? That is exactly what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah, exactly. Well, first of all, there's a part of me that still believes I can be on Broadway by the end of this year, only because why fucking not? Like, it's who knows? Why cut myself off from that possibility? Even if it might not happen, it still could happen. So I'm still living into that possibility. And that's part of the manifesting, of like just trusting that, like, who knows, maybe there will be a new show that's casting out of LA and I know the casting director, and great, cool, December, I'm making my Broadway debut. Who knows? If not, I adjust and I make a new goal, and I trust that setting that goal is going to make, if I don't set the goal, I can remain stagnant. If I do set the goal, I can get this far, maybe not all the way, maybe not 100%, but if I get 75%, that path is 100% worth it. and meaningful. So it's still, even if you don't get it, it's still also worth it.
Do you think that the reason that people find or people what am I trying to say? They view their goals as, difficult to accomplish. Do you think it's because they're really seeing the mountain instead of like the hiking path in front of them? Do you think that there's some self-sabotage as well involved in that? This is a very convoluted question, but my brain's going in like a million different directions. But I've seen and personally experienced moments where I self-sabotage by like not preparing as much as I should. Thankfully, this doesn't happen very often. But I feel like for auditions in particular, this happens a lot. Because what if you do give it your all and then it still doesn't work out? I think that that's probably like the worst that could happen in a lot of people's minds, which actually stops them from trying their hardest to getting to where they want to go.
Yeah, that is such a good point. And that was how I was thinking when I was in New York. I was avoiding auditions because I felt like I had to do it all perfectly and I had to plan and prepare and over prepare and be ready before I go so that I can prevent failure. And guess what I did? Didn't audition.
Right. Which is automatically not
Yeah.
getting you to where you were hoping to get anyway.
Exactly. It's this, I think it's a fear of failure. And it's also our attachment to all or nothing and perfectionism. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I feel like fear is huge. Fear is something that everyone, I think, battles with on a day-to-day basis. Fear of failure. And honestly, I think a lot of the time we're all afraid, right? Like I'm afraid 99% of the time. Like living on this earth can be terrifying. Like afraid, you know what I mean? Just to put yourself out there life isn't easy. So I think a lot of it, and this is something I actually try to live by, is do it afraid. Because if you don't do it at all, then you're not going to get anywhere. So sometimes, and I think that goes back to you, Marissa, talking about how you do have to set goals that are going to take you out of your comfort zone, because you're not going to grow in your comfort zone. That's so cliche, but it's so true. Yeah, you have to do it afraid sometimes.
And I think it's about also reassessing what failure means.
Mm-hmm.
Because is failure not getting the job, or is it, or is success showing up, working on that audition, practicing, showing up and failing? That's success to me, because you showed up and you were scared and you stretched yourself. And then you're getting a little bit closer bit by bit, because like we talked about at the beginning, it's a practice. It's just a habit. So getting out of your comfort zone is a habit.
Also, every failure provides you with new information that you didn't have before.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I was reading up about you last night. And something that caught my eye on your website was that you struggled with anxiety. And if you don't mind me asking, how did you deal with your anxiety?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, I still have anxiety. That is something that I've lived with since I was 7 years old. How I deal with my anxiety is journaling and slowing down and prioritizing the things that fill me up, which are my friends and my family, and being creatively fulfilled. That is, and slowing down. I'll say that again. That is usually what is out of alignment when I'm most anxious. I'm usually doing too much. So I try to do less and focus on my morning routine, which is drinking my water and taking my supplements and doing my skincare, like just the like basic of basic human things, and then writing in my journal and listening to a meditation. Like those are so wildly important for me. And when I don't do those things, I am more anxious than usual. But all of this being said, I'm always anxious. I always have anxiety. I'm sweating right now. Like I'm always anxious.
Join the club. I am always sweating.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think you mentioned before, Marissa, you have your hands in a lot of pots. Do you have any advice for other creatives that are working on multiple things right now and how to balance? And like you said, like I deal with anxiety as well. And for me, that's a huge part. I'm a creative as well. And I like to have a lot of different projects at one time, but I really, really struggle with the balance. Do you have any advice?
Yeah. That's something that I've spent a lot of time thinking and writing about, specifically this last year, because with this time at our disposal, I think a lot of us, or I guess I can only speak for myself, but I felt definitely overwhelmed with all of the possibilities, and it was exciting. And also I expected so much of myself to just constantly be in do mode. So if that is you or anybody listening, I would say, one, you can't do it all. You just can't do it all, even though society and capitalism expects that of us and encourages us to do that. You can't. I would encourage you to get comfortable with giving 80% of your energy, not 100%. Don't overachieve. Do not max out your energy bandwidth. And then with that, know what your values are. What is most important to you? Is it doing a bunch of things and getting a bunch of gold stars and proving on Instagram that you're up to a bunch and using your time well? Or is it that you love all of the pots that you have your hands in and it really fills you up? You have to ask that question. And if it is that latter one, and you really are excited about all of the things that you're doing, then you have to figure out boundaries within those. Which is
boundaries. How do you mean? Like with yourself and how much energy you're giving?
Yeah, yes. And then I think also, depending on the nature of your jobs, like I run a social media account. So one of my boundaries within that is I figured out with my two mentors who are like not my bosses, but like in this case, my boss. So with me, it was me communicating to them time around planning. So instead of like talking constantly through text, I was like, great, I'm going to have the week planned by Sunday evening so that you guys can get back to me, and you'll have until Monday night to like get back, tell me any adjustments, and then I adjust it in one day, and then I move on to the rest of my other jobs for the week, because that was really important for me and I wanted to do that, but I had to create that time boundary so that I could do everything else I wanted to do.
That makes a lot of sense.
I feel like that speaks to a lot of people in our industry because we're freelancers. We are always working on multiple things, and sometimes there's not a set schedule and set times that we have to have things done by. And you're absolutely right. You have to set those boundaries for yourself. When are you going to get the work done? When are you going to have time for yourself? I feel like I'm struggling so much with that right now, with finding time for me is very difficult, and I'm trying to figure that out right now. So I really relate to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of us deal with that because we're also, it goes back to what I was just saying, is like we're expected to do it all. We're expected to use all of our time and not prioritize ourselves. So prioritize you, make that number one, and do it a little less perfect. You know,
I honestly, I love that you were like 80%. You have to be okay with, because like, honestly, I expect myself to be 100% all the time. And that is so unrealistic.
And you don't need to. It's not necessary.
No, I feel like you just gave me the room to like that. Yes, thank you. I'm going to hold on to that and take that from today's
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Good.
I also struggle with that as well. I have like chronic migraines and tension headaches. I get them at least once a month. I had one this morning, and I really feel like I totally see a correlation, not only like hormonally, because that's part of it, but if I'm overextending myself or over committing, to, itinerary items. If I'm just like giving up so much energy, like at the end of the day, I am an empty shell of a woman.
Yes.
And she's got no choice but to get sick. That just happens a lot. So like that's something I actively try to work on.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting as artists, like Alexa said, we have no set schedule. So what's keeping me from like continuing the emails or the editing or the because my side job's very flexible, so like I'll fit that in when I can, and like I have no day off like ever. I just kind of am like trying to catch a breath whenever I can, and that's no good.
No,
it's like if you don't choose a day, your body's going to choose a day for you. I think
exactly.
that's where the migraines are like manifesting, Pam, because you're not choosing a day to just do nothing. And I struggle with this too. I'm not like saying that it's just you, because I'm speaking for myself as well. And your body's going to choose. You're going to have a headache. You're not going to feel good. You're going to be anxious.
Guess what? You didn't stop. I'm going to stop you right there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's interesting. God. I have kind of a more not tactical, I don't know where my vocabulary is today, but a more literal question. Okay. How do you organize your day? Do you have a planner? Do you use like your computer, your phone?
Yeah,
what do you do?
I've always had a paper planner. That's always been my thing. This is my planner this year.
It's so cute.
I
love
that.
The plants.
It says grow where you are planted.
And I really also, that's very cute. I also really like the rings on the.
And they're hearts. Isn't that cute on the inside?
Oh my gosh,
that's very good.
That's super cool.
Anyways, yeah, so I've always had a paper planner. If anyone's in the market for a good planner, Passion Planner is actually, I used it for 5 years and I just took a break this past year, but it's a really good one it has goal setting. It has like so many things. Yeah, I love a paper planner. I write everything in there. I don't do phone because I don't like having two things. That doesn't serve me. So I have it all in my paper planner. And then for my like daily to-do list, I have my little whiteboard.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah, those are like the main things. And then in my planner, I will write a weekly to-do list of not everything that I want to do, but just like the most important things. So that like anchors me if I feel overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, what do I actually need to get done this week? Great, let's look at that little list.
I have a paper planner as well, but I'll have like weeks where I'm like really into it and then like a month where it's blank and then I'll get really back into it. Like really would love to incorporate it as a habit because I remember it worked so well for me. My middle school provided these agendas for us to write down our homework in. And I wore that thing in to the point where it was like breaking apart. So like, I know I can do it, but my phone I can't imagine like doing it not on my phone, but I like the idea and the aesthetic of having a paper planner.
Yeah. At least you're doing it on your phone, Pam. There's nothing over here happening.
Well, I just don't understand people like you. Like it's really interesting. How do you remember when to show up or do something? Like I cannot keep all of it in my head. I have to every night before bed I check to see what I have going on the next day, and in the morning I recheck. Like
same.
I somehow remember, I know that sounds odd. It's probably not good. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I think the other shoe is going to drop soon. Like, I think I'm going to forget something massive. And then I'll be like, oh shit, I need a planner. Cause even in school, I didn't use one.
I feel like, Alexa, if you've gone this long without a planner, I think you're fine. I think you just have a good memory.
You've got a nimble mind.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, well, knock on wood. I don't have any wood near me, but knock on wood, because I hope so. But yeah, that also like gives me a little bit of stress, because I know people do like have a planner and like write things down on their phone, and then I get in my head and I'm like, oh no, I'm doing it all wrong.
No, release that. Let's like
I
know. Perfectly in line with all of this, right? Like you don't have to do that just because other people are.
Very true. Very
That's
true.
Amazing. You mentioned the Broadway goal. Is that currently the goal that you're actively working on?
Yeah, that's always been the goal. It's definitely still the end game. And currently, like I like think about that and then that's in the back burner. And now like what I'm thinking about right now is just training and booking work so that I can leave my retail job. That's what's on my mind.
Yes.
I can't wait for you to be in a show so I can come see you.
It's gonna happen. Very
Soon.
excited for you, Marissa.
Thanks.
That's wonderful.
Soon.
It's good stuff.
I have a couple more questions for you, and these are less on topic, unless Alexa had an on-topic question to ask first.
The rest of mine are silly.
Okay. Favorite cocktail or snack?
Ooh, favorite cocktail, a spicy margarita.
Ooh,
Yum.
I like that.
I want that.
That sounds really good right now. Do you have any music you want to share? I'm a huge. Go ahead.
My favorite band is Lake Street Dive. They've recently gotten very popular, but I'm going to be this girl. I've never been this girl, but I'm going to be this girl now because I knew them before they were cool. I saw them at Standing Room in Pittsburgh, actually, our senior year, Alexa.
No way. That is awesome.
Like $15 ticket. I stood front row, went after my like Into the Woods audition by myself.
That audition though.
Yes. I was like, I need to go see my band.
Good. Yes. Good for you. I'm sure that was I'm sure that was such a release after that day.
It was great.
Sidebar, Marissa and I went to college together. I feel like we should mention that.
I was gonna ask, like, how did you two meet? But then I got like taken by how lovely Marissa is, and I was like listening intently for tips and tricks.
Yes.
What is your dream role?
Ooh, dream role.
I had this at the top of my head because Alexa and I were chatting about this yesterday, and like we had a list of like all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So totally. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but
no, it's okay. I never know what to say to that question because I don't think about that often. Oh, you know what? Maybe Sweet Charity and Sweet Charity.
That's this girl's favorite.
That's a good one.
Yes. Marissa and I have always vibed similar musicals. I feel like we love Fosse. We're Fosse gals.
Fosse gals. I love the golden age.
Yes, me too. And you can't see Marissa's, I'm going to say gams, her legs. She has great
her stems.
Her stems. She has great stems.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Marissa, is there anything you're watching right now on Netflix? I need a new show.
You know what? Actually, yes. I usually watch the same thing over and over and over again. Like I watch Community all the time. I watch New Girl Up. Community is a good one if you haven't heard of Community.
Okay, no, I have not. I've heard of it. I have not seen it. Love New Girl though.
Community is very good. It's Dan Harmon. So he made Rick and Morty, but it's not that. It's like very smart, intelligent humor, but it's silly and irreverent.
Ooh.
And it's good. But I am also watching though Unorthodox on Netflix, which is very
excellent.
Good.
It's excellent. Yeah.
Good. I just finished Russian Doll, which so good. Natasha Lyonne.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, very good. But so I need something to watch. Maybe I'll do Community because that sounds like that would be very much so up my alley.
You'd like it.
Okay, cool.
Plug time. What are you working on? Where can our listeners follow you?
Yes.
You can follow me on either of my Instagram pages, Marissa Ruth Mayer or Organize It with Marissa. It's organizeit_ with Marissa. My website is all on there. And what am I working on? Everything that we just talked about, and doing goal setting with people over Zoom like this, and starting to go into homes with vaccinated people to organize. So if you're in LA and want some of that, I'm starting to go in-house.
Love that. Oh my goodness.
That's great. I was telling Pam before we jumped on that I feel like I need your organizing skills because I couldn't find like my favorite pair of shorts. And I know that they're somewhere. And I was like, what the heck? I was like, wow, this is very like this is great because
Perfect timing. I got you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh gosh.
All right. I'm going to stretch it out to ask about Are you gonna ask? I think you should ask.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Okay, go.
Marissa,
scared.
are you okay?
I am okay. I'm not like thriving as I usually am, but I'm okay. I'm in transition right now, which is always an uncomfortable place to be. And I ironically was feeling really thriving. This sounds so weird, but I was thriving throughout the pandemic because I had autonomy of time, and that is, I really thrived being home with my family and all of that. And so now as we're transitioning into real people life and with more expectations and just a lot more to balance, it's been a transition and continues to be. So yeah, I'm just, taking it day by day and slowing down.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. Alexa, are you okay?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good today. I tackled a lot of things this morning that I needed to get off my to-do list in my brain because I don't write things down, which was really satisfying. I did a lot of just like chores around the house that needed to happen, which I don't necessarily love doing on my days off. So I try to get it done like early in the morning so that I can like relax the rest of the day. So I was happy to do that. And so I'm doing good. My space is clean and I'm ready to enjoy it after this podcast. This has been great.
Good.
Pam, are you okay?
No. So I mentioned I had a tension headache this morning. It was interesting because yesterday I was talking to my friend Tiffany, who, knows I get horrible headaches, and she was telling me her symptoms. She's like, my neck and my shoulders won't like come off my ears. I'm in a lot of pain. I feel this and this. I was like, I think you're experiencing a tension headache. And I was like walking her through it, and she's feeling a little bit better. But like today I woke up with one, and so like I was like in like sitting in the shower with the hot water like running down my head and my shoulders like most of the morning. And I don't know if any of our listeners suffer from these, but like something that I found always works is if you have a tension headache, like move your body because it'll loosen your muscles. So like I was kind of walking around before we hopped on the show, and I had my cup of coffee, which also helps. But the one thing that really helps is a positive social interaction, which I now can say that I've had today because you are so lovely, Marissa. Alexa, but I'm kidding. All right. But this was so lovely. So I'm feeling so much better. So I'm more than okay now.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Marissa. It was such a pleasure having you.
She is wise, talented, lovely, beautiful, all the things.
Thank you so much for
follow her, you guys. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
So special.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We will see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks so much for listening. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the things. If for some reason you want to see more of us, you can follow us on Instagram at No One's Okay.
And a special thanks to Jordan Ross Weinhold, Sean Moore, Jason Crow, Claire Palmer, Jackson Palmer, Tiffany Haymoff, Shane Rings, James Liddell, and our podcast is recorded at Soundworks Studios.
We can't wait to meet you!